Vermont, along with the one and only Stephen Maxwell. Hope you guys are doing well today. We're looking forward to a great show with you once again at 442-8255 on the BOM Bank Talk Line. Stephen's been out and about again yesterday. Quite the adventures yesterday.
It was kind of a fun day. Went out to Lake Bulow for their water rentals they have there now. First time ever, according to the city. If you think there was something else, that's what the city said.
Right.
Didn't see alligators, so we're good.
So the city of Pineville's recreation director is the gentleman who had run for office a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And,
Rochelle or...
Yeah, James Rochelle, that's right. And I know that during that campaign, one of his things he had talked about was doing more with Bulow. So he seemed to have a vision for doing that. And so I guess that's maybe kind of step one.
Yeah, water rentals are out there. They're going to put some barbecue pit areas as well. There's the RV, I don't know what they call them, like RV slab spots.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those. They're going to add more. So a lot going on over there. And I mean, it's a nice little spot. And it's good to kayak there too. I kayaked. So.
I saw you didn't flip either.
No, I was worried about it. That's why I didn't put the camera out on that one. I was like, if I fall over, Chad and Sunlaw Broadcasting is going to kill me. So.
Well, they have different kinds of kayaks. They have the kinds you kind of slip into with a hole. And I guess those are, if you tip over, you just flip right back. But the one you were in, if you fell out, you're out.
You're out, yeah. I kind of like that more.
So you just had the microphone on. You didn't have the camera on you.
Yep. Yeah.
So you need a little GoPro. Had to get you a GoPro.
GoPro, yeah.
Because that one can...
I'll talk to him about that. Christy, who runs the thing, she was holding the camera for me. She did a good job. She's one of the nicest people, too.
Really?
So if you go out there, you're going to get good service as well. So
yeah.
Every day from 10 to 7.
Any idea how much it costs?
I didn't get the exact prices.
Okay.
I'm sure it's reasonable, though.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And then last night, you were at the school board meeting?
I was at my home watching the school board meeting.
I got you.
I wanted to go, but I had to watch my daughter. Had to be a parent for once. So, and then they had that Pine Ridge meeting. Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
I didn't say that. I hope my wife's not listening. She'd come after me.
Hope Sandra wasn't listening.
Yeah.
She'd come after me.
The Pine Ridge meeting for carbon capture yesterday. I wanted to go to that, but I can only... I'm one guy, and I had to be home some nights. So, but I covered the school board meeting from home. Basically, the big issue there was bringing back corporal punishment at Cross Rapids Parish Schools. They banned it in 2022 after that incident at Phoenix School, where the principal was indicted on cruelty to juvenile charges. They banned it after that. But now Linda Burgess, one of the school board members, wants to bring it back, saying that it'll help with discipline, especially in the elementary age children. Board member Franklin was kind of agreeing with her. Dryden said that he wants to look at it and push it back to the July committee meeting. And in the meantime, Superintendent Jeff Powell is going to take a poll of the principals to see how many of them are, what their thoughts on corporal punishment are. So basically the state standards is if there is corporal punishment, you have to get a written permission from the parent to do so.
Yeah, I wonder how many parents would actually permit that.
I have no idea. I'm sure a few would.
Yeah, I'm sure a few would.
Mine wouldn't.
No?
For sure, no.
Really?
My dad was not for that.
Oh, that's right. Remember you said
he doesn't like other people spanking his kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
I don't know how my parents would have. They probably would have allowed it.
I don't know. I think my mom would be hit and miss. She might allow it.
Yeah.
It just depends. I mean, I'm from Fairview, so it's so small.
My mom was never hit and miss. She always hit the spot.
She always did. I can imagine. She could have done better too with you. So I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
it turned out to be a nice young man.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely had my moments as a kid.
I could imagine. You're one of them latchkey kids, right?
Oh yeah.
Just kind of did your own thing.
Yeah. Yep. So by the time we were like 8 or 9 years old, we were pretty much feral kids.
I can imagine. Could you imagine, and I'm not like making fun of anybody, can you imagine our kids today even being remotely close to how you were in the 70s and 80s?
Probably not.
Lord have mercy.
But we had a lot of fun, I'll say that. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Had a few laughs.
Fun summers in Wisconsin, I'm sure.
Yeah. So what's next now for this banking thing?
It's going to the July committee meeting where they'll further discuss it. I'm sure they'll have the results of that poll from the principals. And there was discussions over, does it have to be implemented before the school year? Do we have to expedite this? Can we do it midway? the superintendent says we prefer to have it before the school year if we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
However, we've implemented things later. Yeah. I don't know where they fall. I think it's pretty mixed on the board. Some of them didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But and it'll be interesting to see what the principals say too.
What has to be frustrating in education these days is you just don't see, in some cases, you just don't see good parenting. And so it falls on the responsibility of the educators. And that's not really fair to them. I mean, their job is to teach, not discipline. Yeah. But so many homes just aren't taking care of that, so it creates problems at school.
Kids are kids, man. It's tough. Yeah. I can imagine. And Coach Wally Fall, school board member, he's against it. He says that he'd rather just see more in-school suspensions. That's what he did when he grew up. Or if there was paddlings, he would basically have to call the parent in, and if they want to do it, they could do it.
Wow.
And they'd bring in witnesses and stuff, a whole thing. So, But he wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah.
So, and he says if you do re-implement it, there's a lot of standards you have to keep. What's the paddle size? I don't know, like the aerodynamicness of it. I don't know what material you can use, but there's a lot of things legally they would have to look at. He says it wouldn't possibly be worth even thinking about.
Can't make the kids go outside to the tree and cut off a switch.
No, I don't think that would be allowed.
Wooden spoon?
Wooden spoon, maybe, grandma. Or a nun with the ruler, they say. So
I remember my wife, when we were raising our kids, she'd go to town and she had her diaper bag and you saw that wooden spoon handle sticking out.
I mean, I got spanked a few times. It wasn't like an overly used practice. Yeah. I was more scared of getting grounded, you know. I would take a paddling. Like when the principal, I got a paddling once in school. And I was like, oh, no, not a paddling. Please don't do that instead of in-school suspension. I would take that any day. I don't know what the fear was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say, I get it, but I would rather that than just privileges taken away.
Right. Just get it done with.
Just do it.
You realize you were wrong, and you're good now. All right. Well, maybe we're generating some calls off of this discussion. 442-8255. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I actually have a history with this. I'm for paddling, and we homeschooled our kids most of the time, but we did for a short time put them in a private school. And I went to the principal and the board when they were having a meeting, and I said, listen, one of the reasons I chose y'all is y'all said that y'all would paddle. And if I find out that my kids got away with something, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to be hot. I said, I don't care if you paddle them for something they didn't do. I get blamed at work sometimes for stuff I didn't do. That introduces them to life. And the paddling is you're right what you said, Al, that it doesn't happen in most homes. There's not discipline in most homes. In the school, it's the only place kids face discipline until it's the law. And so we have a rare opportunity in there to teach the biblical principle that when you do things wrong, bad things happen to you. And that's a principle that is scarce in our society today. I know when I was helping coach Dry Prone Junior High's team, the young teachers, they just couldn't control their classes because they couldn't paddle. And if they sent them to the office, then they got reprimanded for not being able to control their class. And so a lot of the kids suffered because they had no discipline in the class. Now, if the school pulled out those problem kids, 90%, maybe 70% of the kids are going to learn. They're going to go and they're going to behave. If they took out those problem makers and sent them to another school, then let them run wild and get what they're going to get the rest of their life. But they don't. They force them to stay in there, and it causes all of our kids to suffer. So I'm all for it. I think the woman that promoted it or proposed it is wise. I think the people who aren't for it, who know it's good, but they're not for it because of the lawyers and they know what's going to happen when a kid, you can't spank my son. That's why their son needed to be spanked, because that they have that's what they're hearing at home. Look, life without discipline is anarchy. And so these kids are going to reach it. At some point, they're going to be confronted with discipline from the state. I'd rather it be in the school where it can be controlled. And look, you can video it. You can have only the principal do it, and you can decide what size paddle to use. But the kids need to know that when they don't act right, when they don't control themselves, pain comes, because pain is coming. When you don't control yourself, you will have a life of pain. So I'm all for it. I hate that they're going to shy away from it. I think it's a little bit of cowardice. Because if you're going to be in that position, if you're going to say, okay, I'll educate the children of tomorrow, then that comes with educating the children of tomorrow. And discipline is one of those things. One of the most important lessons that you teach them is self-discipline, how to take every thought captive and control themselves. So anyways, I'm all for it. My kids did get blamed a few times for things that they said they didn't do. I said, hey, suck it up, Buttercup. That's his life. And it didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them. I'm what the Bible says, beat them. Though they sound like they are dying, they shall surely not die. Beat them and save their souls from hell. So I'm not saying kids should be beaten in school, but I'm saying corporal punishment is a tool that yields great results in a lot of kids. My dad was a lifelong disciplinarian, and he retired. When he retired, the principal wouldn't paddle. Other teachers were sitting there kids to him. And he had so many people that called him. I even have people still now, even after he's passed away, telling me, man, your dad really helped straighten me out. And I'm so thankful for what he did that one year. I had him in 8th grade at Dry Prong Junior High or Lafayette Elementary School. So anyway, don't discount it. I know there are people like Stephen's dad who said, you're not going to touch my kid. I don't think they're serving their kids well by doing that. I think kids need to realize there are forces of discipline in life other than my parents, and I'm subject to them. We live in a civilized society. We're subject to those forces. And sometimes they're human and they make a mistake, and I get paddled for something I didn't do.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, I think the most scared I've ever been for punishment in school is when our coach would make us run around the fields. That was enough punishment for me. I think there's a lot of ways. I mean, one of my favorite teachers was our ag teacher, Mr. Fontenot. Very intimidating. You don't mess in Mr. Fontenot's class. You do what you do. He was like a hard-nosed, blue-collar boss, right? Mm-hmm. And he taught us a lot, practical things, how to work. You're going to get criticized and you're going to get in trouble at work. And those are things that I appreciated. He never spanked us, but I still remember, the discipline that he had. And I told him, a couple of years ago, how much I appreciated it.
Did you ever get in trouble at work?
I don't think so. I had pretty lenient bosses, so.
I can remember one time.
Did I?
A certain email on the weekend.
I don't remember that.
When you were a weekend anchor?
Oh, yeah. Probably because we didn't post enough or something. Was that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I barely remember that one.
Took you and Luke to the woodshed.
That's right, yeah. It was probably mostly Luke's fault. I can't do everything now.
All right, more calls right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Would-be home buyers who need to finance their purchase are seeing some relief in mortgage rates. A bankers group says the contract rate on a 30-year mortgage slipped to 6.79%. That sparked a jump in refinancings, which rose to the highest level since April. At the same time, an index of applications to finance home purchases was little changed last week and consistent with a housing market that remains unaffordable for many. The dine-in theater chain Cinemex has filed for bankruptcy for a second time in 5 years. The Miami-based chain's bankruptcy is the latest in a list of movie theater closures and debt restructurings. Regal owner Cineworld filed for Chapter 11 in the U.S. in 2022. Rival AMC was able to avoid a bankruptcy. Earlier this week, that company reached an agreement with creditors to end litigation, and last year went through a debt restructuring. Futures have been fluctuating this morning after a mixed close for Wall Street yesterday, with the S&P and the NASDAQ pulling back from record highs. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Light hits 970.
Yeah.
I love that song, man. Let's go to the phones again. Good morning. You're on the BOM Bank Talk line.
Yeah, y'all are talking about paddling. When my parents tried to paddle me when I was little, I would laugh really hard. The more they paddled, the more I'd laugh. So.
Wow. That explains a lot, Brian. I'm beginning to understand you now.
Yeah, I know. We're learning all kinds of stuff. Stevens, what he did in the past, and at the station.
Oh, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what. Did I not post enough, like on the weekends, or did I not do enough content? I don't remember.
There's something like that.
But my parents actually taking away stuff actually was a thing that paddling didn't do anything at all to punish me. But when they started taking stuff away, I think now, taking away cell phones and other stuff is a lot more effective than paddling. So
I remember the first time I encountered somebody that used the timeout technique, and I was like, what? What the heck's a timeout?
Yeah.
What was the other one where you kneel on dry rice?
Okay, well, that one's like torture.
Some parents did that. I've seen it.
Really?
Mine didn't do that, but...
Wow.
Well,
again, I would
just tried to do...
Just do the spanking and get it over with.
I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you laugh.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes that's just like a nervous tick. You laugh.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, I know what a good punishment these days would be.
What would that be?
Sending somebody to go watch the Oakland A's, or whatever they're called now, Sacramento A's.
Las Vegas?
Get them a season ticket. Yeah, get them a ticket, make them watch a whole series.
Or a Brewers game.
20 games.
Bite your tongue. I don't know. I feel like any baseball game would not be punishment.
Just delete their Instagram account. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go.
That'll make them mad.
Sophie?
Sophie's not going to have social media.
All right, thanks, Brian. Speaking of Sophie, I saw a cute little video of her running yesterday.
Oh, did my wife post something?
Yeah. So she's getting ready for 2027? Are you going to have her like in a marathon in 2027?
I think she's going to be a power lifter, if I had to guess.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to try and do.
She's getting really cute, by the way.
Thank you. She was mad that this morning she woke up early.
Oh, really?
And she's attached to my wife lately, which isn't unusual.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back and forth. But mom was out running and she wasn't there. It was like 20 minutes of just anger and distraughtness. So
really,
I wasn't good enough.
Did you give her a timeout?
No, it's not her fault for being sad. Mom's gone. So.
Aww.
I was like, you'll appreciate it when mom's gone for a little while. One day.
Mom, get out of here. Yeah. Being a kid's a complicated thing. They're trying to figure out life.
Get those emotions in check.
Yeah, back to the whole punishment thing. That's the reason that we used it, was because I always felt like if they got out of sorts and then you just took care of it, boom, it was peaceful after that. They were more peaceful. The house was more peaceful. So why would you not do that?
Exactly.
Which, now some of my kids might disagree today, but that's okay. They can raise their kids the way they want to.
You do it how you want.
Yeah, exactly.
In different ways.
Exactly. All right, more calls. Good morning. You are on Talkback.
Oh, hi. Did I win those Toto tickets?
Yes. You're the ninth caller.
Oh. I love when you guys do that whole thing, the light rock thing. That's why I called, because this weekend everybody's got to take in a little bit of that music. It's Mike from Chicago. How you doing?
Mike, good to hear from you. Yeah, the yacht rock type music. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
in the summer.
It is, but is it really yacht rock? They renamed it for the marketing purposes, and it's kind of blossomed in that way. But that's the music we grew up on. Yep. That was the music our parents were looking at, and you were kind of modeling them like, wow, look at those adults listening to that music.
I feel like
it really resonated.
Yeah, I feel like music from 75 to 79 was like peak to me.
What it was. Player.
Yes.
Guys.
Baby Come Back.
My uncle. Yep, I grew up in my uncle's 73 Mach 1 Mustang. He had a digital Pioneer radio in 1978. It was like, man, you talk about glory as a kid, man. It was just unbelievable. I miss it so much and going back. But I just want to say, half the year has gone by. You guys have done such an unbelievable job. I just want everybody to remember to enjoy themselves this weekend. Take in a little bit of fun, because after this weekend, it's probably going to get a lot more serious.
That's true. You are right. And we should be celebrating 249 years.
We should.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As I call it, the original No King's Day coming up.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you guys enjoy yourselves. I'll call in next week with some really good stuff. I wanted to keep it light and happy, and I just want to wish everybody a great 4th of July, and thanks again for bringing talk every morning. I really appreciate it.
I never asked you, White Sox or Cubs?
Oh, gosh, White Sox.
Yes, I knew I liked you.
They ruined the North Side.
Yes, I knew I liked you. All right, that's a good call.
White Sox, you got it. All right, have a great day, you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye. Yeah, that's always the thing you learn about somebody. Who do they follow? If they're from Chicago, White Sox or Cubs?
That's important to you, too.
If the White Sox, they're cool. If the Cubs, not so much.
Yeah. White Sox was Obama's team, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was that. But, yeah, well, I give him credit. And it's also the Pope's team.
What did he call the field again? Remember he got it wrong?
The Obama called
Kaminsky?
Kaminsky? Yeah.
What did he say?
Kaminsky, maybe?
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I had the chance to go to the old Comiskey before they tore it down and built the new one. But even the new one, I've gone a few times. I have a friend that lives in Chicago, and honestly, I've always enjoyed the atmosphere at the Sox games more than the Cubs games.
Look, I'm going to say this, and this is going to like tick off a lot of people. Not you. Maybe it would you because it's like a whole baseball purity thing. I liked going to the Cubs game when we went, but I thought it was kind of a dump.
Yeah.
It was the Wrigley was a dump.
No one likes
and people were so mean.
Yes.
They're
uppity.
angry.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
It's not a fun atmosphere.
No. I like the White Sox, too.
Yeah.
Definitely better.
The Sox, I don't know. They're just, I guess, because they've always been sort of the younger brother or whatever.
But they're the Mets of Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and and they're like Cowboys fans, the Cubs. They're just everyone's a Cubs fan. Or has been a Cubs fan.
Bandwagon whiners.
Yeah. Hey, trust me, I know. I know.
Did you see there's a documentary coming out on Netflix about the Cowboys?
No.
Yeah, I sent you the link yesterday, the trailer.
Oh, I'll watch it eventually.
Thanks for reading it.
I get to them eventually.
It looks pretty good, though.
What is it about, the 90s?
It's just about, a lot of it is, when Jerry Jones took over the team and they took on that whole persona and, how it's playing in Dallas is unlike anywhere else. To be a member of the Cowboys is unlike anything else.
Yeah, well, nothing as disappointing as that, I'm sure. That's what's different
pretty
about
good.
them.
They showed a lot of clips with interviews with Michael Irvin and people like that.
Did I ever tell you about the time I ate dinner with Michael Irvin?
I remember that.
At the Diamond Grill in Alexandria?
Yeah.
Interesting time.
He was in town for something.
Well, I think he got stuck here.
Oh.
And he had to use KLB's studio.
Okay.
For like an NFL Network hit.
Gotcha.
And he just stayed in town and ended up at the Diamond Grill.
Huh.
Watched Monday Night Football. He ate like 3 dinners and a couple beers.
Was
he was ripped.
Was he cool?
Yeah, he was super nice.
Nice.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. Did you get a picture with him?
No, I hate doing that.
Yeah.
I just want to let him enjoy his life. I should have, because people probably don't believe me.
No, I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah. I did like a quick sneak, but it didn't really turn out well.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. We're taking a break, and we have an update for you on last night's carbon capture meeting held in Melder right after this.
KSYL.
When you're going through something.
Hey folks, it's Tommy Walder inviting you to Blues and Cues, July 11th at the Riverfront Center in downtown Alexandria. Come enjoy Crystal Thomas, Sam Joyner, Amy Allen, and MC Tony Groove. Plus, free. That's free barbecue. Doors are open at 6:30. The show starts at 7. Tickets are free, but the number is limited, so grab yours today at thomasbwalder.com.
Let's give them the blues.
William Shakespeare's Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 1.
Out, dang spot! Out, I say!
It seems Lady Macbeth is having difficulties removing a troublesome spot.
5, my lord, 5!
Perhaps she should take that spot to Craig's Cleaners. At Craig's, tough stains are no problem. Finicky, hard-to-clean fabrics are no problem, too. Professional dry cleaning, dependable service.
Craig's Cleaners, 1746 Elliott Street, 1305 Metro Drive, or Highway 28 East at the Pineville Expressway.
A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air.
She told me Israel Air. She told me.
She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
And a very fair price.
Because we're all about your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort,
To take part in the show, call Call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we're back here on your Wednesday morning on Quartermont. Stephen Maxwell. Well, we have been covering this topic quite a bit in recent weeks. As you know, the issue of carbon capture and sequestration. Monday was the big meeting in Pineville that Stephen was at. Last night, there was another meeting down in Melder, and Brendan Dubrock steps in this morning. He was there and going to give us a little bit of a report on how things went. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Great. So the meeting was very spirited, like the one at Pineville, with a different tone on the spirited issues, because let's just start from the beginning. The meeting started at 6 p.m., and I was very surprised, but it showed the passion of the people, because the Pine Ridge Baptist Church was completely full.
Wow.
They actually had to open up a second building. So there was over 500 people in the community of Melder that showed up.
Wasn't a small church either, huh?
It was
pretty decently sized.
It's decently sized.
Yeah.
It wasn't the size of the Pineville Auditorium or the Philadelphia Church, but it was packed. It was packed. There was people standing against the walls in the back, and they literally had to open up the second building where they had video feed.
Wow.
I noticed a comment on Stephen's story the other day. Someone from Vernon Parish said, well, where have you all been? We've been on this for like a year now, and everyone else now all of a sudden. But I think what's happening is now people are finally becoming aware, and as they're becoming more aware, you're hearing a lot more concern being voiced. So I don't want to say better late than never, but people definitely are catching on now.
Yes, and I actually apologized to those representatives last night from Vernon and Allen, because of the positions that I've been in. I couldn't have a voice. I had to be careful.
Right.
But the breaking point was me when I was standing in Baton Rouge and outside the Natural Resources Committee and begging them to let this come to the 64 parishes. So they knew about it.
Yeah.
And it's a state issue. I want to make that clear.
For sure.
That this is not just a Rapides district or Vernon and Allen. I had to walk a thin line. But it broke my heart when that didn't get out of Natural Resources.
Right.
Because
that was the committee meeting back in March-ish.
Yes, April.
Yeah. April. Okay.
Yeah, and that was tough. And I felt a conviction. I'm gonna say it. I felt a conviction from God that I was led, and I apologized to them last night, and they graciously accepted it, and they asked me why, and I explained that very reason, and so now I'm completely on board, and I've been on other talk shows across the state.
I've heard you on Moon.
I've been on Moon a couple times. Moon calls me regularly now, and it's a statewide issue that it was kept hush. And I know why. And it's because there's police juries around the state that feel that if they don't stay quiet, they won't get the funding for our blacktops and our roads and our ditches that we need.
Well, that's how it works in Louisiana. And
it's sad.
It's a system that, to me, has led to a lot of the corruption that we see in this state, is because Huey Long set it up that way. And, I know during the last governor's race that the young man, Richard Nelson, was calling that out, saying if he were elected, he would try to change that. Well, now he's part of the Landry administration. We've seen some attempts to maybe change it a little, but we've even seen this governor strong-arm people when he wants certain things done. So it's too much power in Baton Rouge. It should be more localized. I mean, that's how this country was set up. And to not give the local people a voice, that's all they're asking for. Let us decide if we want this. And to take that away from them, I'm with you. I don't get that.
Being in the positions I've been in over the last 4 or 5 years, I can see it. I was hoping that this administration would be different.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to make it clear, I don't blame our local representatives because it was put on the state as a whole.
Right.
It just so happens that Mike Johnson falls in my district.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known Mike pretty much my whole life. He has been our our House representative in history.
Mm-hmm.
And he will bring money to our district. He will, if he becomes the Speaker of the House, it will benefit us.
For sure.
But I have a conviction that stems from elementary school at Alexander Country Day.
Mm-hmm.
With the freshwater mussels and then all the coastal projects that I've been a part of. And this is a major disaster that I think is waiting to happen. And this has been put on us by the global market.
Yes, no question about it. And that's because I've heard people ask questions like, well, why can't they just, put it into the air and let the trees absorb it? What people don't understand about this is this company that is coming, and when they said this when they were on our show, the product they're producing, the methanol, if it's not scored as green, the less green it is scored, the less they're able to sell it to the market that they're targeting, which is Europe. So, I mean, they're not really hiding this fact. And the whole carbon capture issue isn't just them. I mean, they're just one company of many that are looking to come here because the state has essentially said, well, we're open to the carbon capture process with the company that's going to be doing all the pipelines and everything. So I don't blame SunGas. I don't think that they've tried to hide what they're doing. They've been pretty transparent about it. It's just a matter of, do people want this? And especially in the areas where this would be stored, seem to largely not be for it at this point.
My only question to SunGas, though, is we've been knowing this project was coming for
a couple of years.
Yeah. And I stressed this in some private meetings, and then all of a sudden I wasn't allowed to go to those meetings, but they used the Beaver Lake Renewable site, and it said on there that they're going to capture their carbon. And I'm like, what is capture carbon?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. But when I read into it, and then I was like, man, I did a lot of environmental work. This does not sound good. It reacts with the chemicals. And then when I noticed that the Cenla hub is coming to West Rapides and Vernon.
Yeah.
And then I dug deeper and went, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I had to bite my tongue until that there was several stuff that Representative Gaiman, who was the chair of Natural Resources, had out there to protect Louisiana citizens. And he's the chair of Natural Resources, and he couldn't even get it out of his own committee.
Yeah, that's amazing. We need to take a break. We'll come back with more with Brendan Newbrock right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Hello, I'm Dr. Noah Miller. I'm the new guy at the clinics. I'm a family medicine physician from Vedrine, Louisiana, and I'm now accepting new patients. Call today for an appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care, on-site lab and x-ray as well. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics. 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or reach us online at theclinics.us. Looking forward to seeing you at the clinic.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captive Pagal, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay, get GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we're back here on Talk Back on your Wednesday. Al Quartermont, Stephen Maxwell, Brendan Dubrock is here with us. Stephen, you said something at the end of the first hour yesterday. It was about, you were talking about the way some of the politicians were supporting this. The way you said it was just so, you hit the nail on the head.
Oh, well, like we hear Republican lawmakers and Republican politicians all across Louisiana say, you know, green news scam, climate change is a hoax, but we're willing to take the money for projects that are being forced from Europe to do things like that here in Louisiana. So I think that we hear a lot of people talk about, like, let's find alternatives for the carbon in the air. Let's do something else with it. But it's not really about that. They're just in the business of this because of those tax credits. So without that, there's really no business, right? From what we understand.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. They want to go back on the Trump administration in 16 to 20 and bring that up. But it did actually start with President Bush in 2008, Halliburton, BlackRock. Mm-hmm. And we're going to call it what it is. I feel like the global billionaires that can control this market has found a way to put pressure on us, but other countries they can't control per se, because we know India and China are like the biggest carbon emissions in the world. And whenever they put this pressure on the United States, we have to do something because we want to be able to sell this gas and oil to other nations. Mm-hmm. It is a global commodity. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I made a post about a couple of days on my Facebook page was they're talking about, man, the benefits and stuff, but Louisiana has a statute that if this goes on the global market, we cannot collect tax on this. And I apologize, I could pull it up in numbers so you can verify this, but it is on my page. It's a cartoon picture of a plant with 3 leaves. And at the bottom of that is the verbatim Louisiana statute that this is exempt. So my concerns is they're calling it, now they're kind of reverbing it and saying that, well, you're not paying it, but we don't have to pay the taxes to you guys. Mm-hmm. We're tax exempt. Yeah. But in the same aspect, we do fund these projects. One of the concerns I have is going to be the DAC facility in Bossier Parish, Bossier. And that is called the Direct Air Capture Facility. It's an heirloom. Mm-hmm. And I looked into the CEO, and he's from California, but he has investors. One of his major investors is Japan, Mitsubishi, and they're going to put turbines, and these turbines are going to pull oxygen into the turbines, capture carbon, and then they're going to pipeline it through Sabine, straight down the middle of Natchitoches Parish into the Cenla hub. And we're paying them that. Louisiana has already committed $3 million to this project. And I was talking to some legislators yesterday, And they were like, how, where? What are you talking about? So there is a governor fund that he can pull money from. I'm not saying that he did that, but they don't know where this money was allocated to it because the House doesn't have the pen. If you control the pen, which is the Senate, that's who signs off on how the monies are spent.
Right.
If once the DAC facility in Bossier gets up and going, then there's a proposal that the state will then give them another $7 million. That's Louisiana taxpayers' money.
I can tell you, I'm from Allen Parish. Allen and Vernon Parish people do not like the idea of being anybody's dumping ground. So I think that's the big issue too.
The state doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon. Well, thanks so much for stopping in today and updating us on what happened last night in Melder. And I know we'll be talking with you again.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right. More talk back coming up in hour number 2. So stay with us.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HP3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Jurors at Sean Combs' sex trafficking trial in New York are resuming deliberations after telling the judge they could only reach a partial verdict, but he sent them back to keep trying on the final and most serious count of racketeering. CBS News legal contributor Caroline Polisi.
What the government is alleging here is that Sean Combs was sort of the head of this enterprise, the object of which was to promote his reputation, promote his brands, fulfill his sexual desires, and cover up crimes related to achieving that goal, essentially.
The charge carries the possibility of life in prison. Lawmakers in the House could vote today on President Trump's big spending bill that squeaked by in the Senate after some major alterations. Republicans on the House Rules Committee debated before voting to advance the measure. North Carolina's Virginia Fox.
This bill gets Americans back to winning again.
South Carolina's Ralph Norman has concerns, though, about Medicaid cuts and budget busting.
I'm against this because what the Senate did, I'll vote against it here, and I'll vote against it on the floor. Until we get it right.
President Trump wants the measure on his desk by Friday. Many lawmakers are still trying to get to Washington to vote. Bad weather's gotten in the way. More than 1,500 flights were canceled yesterday. Hundreds more have been canceled today. Correspondent Nikki Batiste is at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
A mix of thunder and heavy rain pounded the East Coast, flooding roadways up and down the I-95 corridor. In Fairfax County, Virginia, firefighters believe lightning caused a small fire.
It definitely scared me. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes later, started to smell smoke and then heard a siren and got out of my house.
An American tourist has vanished in a tropical paradise. CBS's Jim Krasula has the details.
51-year-old Brian Terrence was last seen leaving a vacation rental in the Turks and Caicos. The Monroe, New York band was apparently headed out for an early morning walk. The Royal Turks and Caicos Islands police force and a private investigator are searching for the missing man.
It's starting to get messy as a strike by municipal workers in Philadelphia enters its second day. CBS's Ross DiMattei is in Center City.
Trash piling up all over the city. Reports of illegal dumping throughout the city already taking effect just one day into this strike. We're also hearing reports of rodent activity picking up, so rats and mice.
Sanitation, police dispatch, water department, and airport workers walked off their jobs in a contract dispute over wages. Dow futures are down 12. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Sean Burns. The Senate passed the big, beautiful bill, but it's not headed to President Trump's desk just yet. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
LSU political science professor Robert Hogan says one of the biggest points of contention with the big, beautiful bill is the number of people who could lose health coverage due to Medicaid cuts.
Strangely enough, a lot of the people most supported Trump are the people whose health care is being put in jeopardy.
So now the bill goes back to the House, and Hogan says passage there is not a sure thing.
Even before the Senate fully took up the legislation and added their own imprint to it, some House members were having misgivings about what they had voted on themselves.
I'm Andrew Greenstein.
Beginning next month, you'll want to keep your hands and eyes off your cell phones at all times while you're driving. The new Louisiana law means no texting, social media, or shopping, and you can only talk on your phone hands-free. The fine will be $100 or $250 in school or construction zones, but officials have said it's not really about the fines, but educating drivers and keeping people safe on the roadways. LRN.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to today's Dental in Pineville. Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Well, good morning. We'll start out with some sunshine this morning with increasing clouds as the afternoon approaches. We'll see the possibility of a stray shower or thunderstorm as well. Only about a 10 to 15% chance of that. Afternoon highs near 96. Tonight, partly cloudy. We'll get down to 74. And then tomorrow again, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. About a 20% chance on Thursday of a shower or thunderstorm throughout the day. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 91 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, we are back for hour number 2 of Talkback here on your Wednesday morning. Al Quartermont, Stephen Maxwell, and glad you guys could be with us here today. Thanks again to Brendan for coming in and kind of filling us in on what went down yesterday down in Melder. This, Stephen, is just a topic that is not going away.
It's getting bigger for sure.
Yeah, and you know, from an audience standpoint, I hope we're not over talking about it. Sometimes, you know, as talk shows, you don't want to get into a silo, but at the same time, I think this could be the biggest issue in Louisiana right now.
Representative Guyman was saying at the meeting 2 days ago that eminent domain, and this will probably be the biggest issue in the upcoming sessions.
Wow. Yeah, I could see it factoring very much into even the Senate race that's coming up. We're not done with this by any stretch.
No, let's get started.
You know, and on that note, from a national standpoint, the big, beautiful bill, which yesterday passed the Senate, originally was going to defund a lot of the, quote, Green New Deal, including eliminating the Q45 tax credits, which we know that a lot of these enterprises are relying on that as part of their business model. So had that gone through, I'm curious how that would have affected something like SunGas. Now, the Senate, through an amendment, added all that funding back in to the big, beautiful bill. That's part of the reason why some people in the House aren't as excited about the bill as they were when they sent it to the Senate. It's coming back to the House now for some final work before potential passage. And I know Mike Johnson, not local Mike Johnson, Shreveport, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he's got some work to do to get this through by July 4th.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative from Georgia. You probably heard of her.
I've heard of her.
I think so. She was on, what's his name? Steve Bannon's show yesterday. And Bannon asked her, I was like, what are the odds this gets through? Is this going to be rubber stamped? She goes, no chance. It's a S-word show. And Mike Johnson just does not have the votes right now to get it through.
Interesting.
She's always got, you have to take what she says a little bit,
with
a grain of salt sometimes. But she knows her faction. That's kind of like the fighter wing of the conservatives.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a tough one, but it always is.
Yeah.
It's never easy in the House these days.
Well, I mean, I think from that standpoint, you've got to say, we're not leaving Washington until we get this done one way or another.
Yep.
I mean, it's time for them to pull up their big boy pants and get the work done.
And look, I appreciate people who have issues and they stand by what they believe. A lot of people are upset about how much this is going to raise the deficit, and that is a big deal. I mean, when you campaign on that, almost as a party, but whenever you're in power, you just kind of like, well,
Yeah.
Maybe trickle-down economics will make it to where we don't have a deficit. Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't just keep playing the same game, right?
And that's what Trump is saying. He's saying that even though it raises the debt ceiling, once the policies kick in, the amount of money that it'll bring in will offset that. Yeah, that remains to be seen. Of course, it's set up a little bit of a tiff between he and Elon Musk at this point, which...
He's going to deport Elon, possibly.
Well, the way they asked him, he's joking. Yeah, it was very tongue-in-cheek, but some people take him literally. Like I've always said about Trump, and I think Rush was the first one to say this, is when Trump speaks, sometimes he says things that his opposition hears it and they take him literally, but the people that know him and support him take him more speaking kind of figuratively, I guess. Not exactly the way the quote was, but they take him seriously, but not literally. Whereas his opponents take him literally, but not seriously. That's the way it was. So we'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. I mean, Trump does make a good point. Elon is against raising the debt ceiling and deficit spending, and great, but he sure wants his EV tax credits in there.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah, I'm sure he has a couple of government, what's the word I'm looking for? He's got a lot of government money in his pocket.
Yeah, so I think he's calling Elon out for a little bit of hypocrisy there.
Yep.
There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. Hey, let's go back to our phones. Again, our phone number, 442-8255. We are on the BOM Bank talk line, and let's take a call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. When we were in school years ago, we had a coach that had a paddle, and the only way you got to put your name on the paddle was if you let him paddle you. So of course, all the guys would, and he was this was in his math class or whatever, and all the guys would line up at the beginning of the semester or whatever to get paddled. And it was a paddle. Now it was a paddle, had holes in it, and your eyes would start watering after that. I guarantee you. Wasn't none of this like what's his name that called earlier said he just laughed. No, you wouldn't have been laughing after that, brother.
Oh,
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
The other thing I had a question for you was, they passed some of this supposedly insurance bills that the governor signed, and he touted all the success and yada, yada, yada. So I got to think about it last night. Being that you were at KLB, what percent of the income, percent-wise, don't care about the dollar-wise, percent of the ad revenue came from the attorney side of the house during the evening news, so to speak, not during the day, but the evening news? What percent of your advertising came from that? And it apparently has gotten worse than some of the years that you were there. So I just said I'd ask you the question and see if we're all thinking crazy or it's truly off the chain.
Yeah, that's a fair question. I was not on the sales side, so I couldn't tell you percentage-wise what that was. I could tell you observationally, I remember from the time I started there in 2001, and I was there 2001 to 2009, and then went to LC for 6 years until 2015, although I still did a little here and there work for them, and then full-time again 2015 to 2021. The biggest change I saw was that first 10 year that I was there, I felt like the bulk of our advertising came from the auto dealerships, whether it was Hickson, Southern.
Exactly. That's what.
And then by the time I left, the bulk of the advertisers were certainly the lawyers. And there were some pretty big deals that were cut with, some for sponsorships of weather vehicles or other things. So, and if you do watch the channel now, it seems like it's got to be at least 80%, probably. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. That's okay. That's what I was like. And another thing on the spanking and the paddling. When I grew up, my mom would send us out to the hedge to get a switch, and if you didn't bring one big enough back, you had to go out there across the lot again and get one that was appropriate, I guess is what I'm saying. So yeah, go back to David Daggerpunt's. We've lost complete control over most of this. So really enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I can say this too, whenever we're talking about advertising and, previous employments when I worked in TV, not once did it influence how the news department handles certain situations.
Correct.
We never did. We were so ignorant of what percentages and who was advertising with us. We had no idea.
Plus, when you're an anchor, when you go to commercials, you're not paying attention to the commercials. You're talking and doing other things. So,
I've worked at 3 TV stations, and Channel 5 was the only one that had the commercials in during the show that you could watch as an anchor.
Oh, okay.
My other 2 markets, it just went off programming. It was just silent. So I had no idea what our commercials were. No idea. And I haven't been able to watch a lot of TV to see what it is now here. So,
speaking of commercials, and we can get to this in a second, but I know that we've added some advertisers for the Stephen Maxwell Reports.
Sinlaw Updates now is sponsored with Sinlaw Broadcasting, so we're excited. It's Walker Kia, Han Roofing, Evangeline Bank, and the Rapides Regional Medical Center. So it really makes this local social media content go. We appreciate them, and look for them. I got to shoot some fun commercials too.
I saw the one where you were on the roof.
I was on a roof for Han Roofing. It was awesome. I got to get in a K4 with Walker Kia, those spiffy cars they have, and I love it. It was fun.
They should let you drive one as part of the sponsorship team.
Hey, I mentioned it. I was like, hey, we need a Sinlaw Update Telluride. And I was like, she's like, I like that idea. And I was like, all right.
Okay.
We'll see.
There you go. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, you were talking about the paddling and discipline. I'm a former teacher, and a few years ago we went to Northern Ireland. We went to really the remote part of it between Sligo and Donegal. We went by train, and then we went by commercial bus. And I was surprised half of the riders were children, all the way from elementary up to high school, along with the rest of us. And they were as quiet as being in a library. And as a former teacher, I asked them when I got a chance, I said, hey, why are y'all so quiet and so good? And their eyes got big, said, we'd be banned if we misbehave. And so let me tell you, they were the best behaved. I think that kids and most people, especially children, want fairness, and they want borders and boundaries. And that gives them a measure of certainty. And I think it's when we're wishy-washy, when we don't say what we mean or mean what we say, or say, well, like at one time President Truman, when he took over after Roosevelt, he said, get me a one-armed economist. And his aide said, what would you want a one-armed economist for? He said, well, I'm sick and tired of hearing, well, on the other hand, we could do this. And I think that's where we are in America, with parents, with teachers, and just make a boundary and make them abide by that. And if they know exactly that it doesn't move, I think that gives them a measure of surety and confidence. And I think that's the difference from back in the good old days. And I appreciate y'all, and God bless you.
Thanks. Where did you say that was?
Pardon?
Where did you say that you saw those kids?
It was in Northern Ireland that we went from Dublin to Sligo by train.
Okay.
And of course that was quiet too, but then we got on a commercial bus to get to Donegal. Up in Donegal, they still speak the Gaelic language. And so, and I mean, there were fishermen they were riding to get to where they needed to go. And these kids knew that was the only means of transportation. They rode the commercial bus just like our kids ride the public school buses. and they couldn't have been better behaved. Now, to me, I'm an old guy. It reminded me of Louisiana back in the 50s and 60s. The people were so courteous. Are you from America? We pray for you. How are you doing? You can go in the pubs, and they're happy people. They have bands for lunch, and it's not a joint or something like that. And so if you want to know what America was like back in the 50s and 60s, go to some of the parts of Ireland and Northern Ireland, and you'll see. And it was really, really refreshing. And so I guess I harken back to those. Those were the good old days. But when we grew up, we didn't lock the door except to keep the cats out or the dog, and we carried guns in the back of our pickup truck.
Yep.
And then you didn't call 911. You didn't have 911, of course. And so, of course, it's a different time. And people, sometimes I tell my kids I didn't get this old and ugly without learning some things. And they look at me like I'm from outer space, you know. But I'm telling you what, it was a lot better time when people's word was, my dad used to say, my word is my bond. And so he would stand on his head to try to do that. But now you can have a contract, and if they got a better lawyer, they win.
Yep. Sadly so.
Well,
you are right.
Thank you so much for letting me say that.
Yeah,
brother.
great observations.
Right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, that is, I remember going to Kansas when I was a kid, and my cousins with their pickups, and they had their gun racks in the back, and they had the guns. And I'm like, why do you have that? Because if you're driving to school and you see a deer on the side of the road, you're going to stop and shoot it.
Different times.
Yeah. Do you ever see the original Red Dawn, the movie?
No, I've seen the new one, though.
Yeah, then I'm guessing in the new one, they don't have them with the guns in their pickups.
I have no idea.
Yeah, the original, they did. It was a good thing, because when they got attacked, they at least had some guns.
It had something, yeah.
So, yeah, no, very, very different times. Of course, that was a lot of the country kids. I don't know that the cities had that quite as much, but those country folks.
Where I'm from, and deep in the woods of Allen Parish, we were a little bit behind on those kind of things, so we just kind of did what we wanted.
You had a good life growing up.
Yeah, I loved it.
You guys had a little touch of that Gen X type being raised. You guys ran around a lot. Did your own thing.
Yeah, we did our own thing. We kind of like, hey, Mom, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Really didn't know where we were going. We stayed at camps at night, go to school in the morning, hang out with friends on the weekend, hunt, make fires, stay at our parents' cabin, and we acted like we were trying to survive all the time. So go swimming at the creek.
Country boy will survive.
That's right.
All right, we're back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Success is about momentum. For over 20 years, Kinetics has been moving businesses forward with cutting-edge IT, cybersecurity, and marketing solutions while keeping them secure, innovative, and competitive. We power progress with next-gen business technology and marketing solutions designed to keep your business ahead of the competition. Need seamless IT, a bold new brand, a strategy built for what's next? Don't get left behind. Move forward with Kinetics. Visit kbisp.com and take the next step today.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talkback.
All right, we are back on Talkback. Alan Stephen with you on a Wednesday. A couple of days before the big party, the 4th of July. We've got fireworks over Bulow tomorrow night. We have the Rockin' on the Red Friday. We've got all the stuff going down in Marksville.
Yeah, all weekend. Arts and Music Festival. Tons of events. A lot of fun. Voiles has the longest running 4th of July parade. So they're excited about that. They'll have stuff for the kids, all sorts of food, music, and even a baking contest. I was trying to get them to make me a judge for that. I haven't heard anything back yet.
Wow.
I would like to eat the cookies.
Yes, you'd be good at that. Nothing better than being a judge for a food contest.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Big Al and Big Steve, boy, I tell you, y'all making me hungry there, gentlemen.
I'm telling you.
Do you have a specialty that you like to cook, Cornelius?
I'm not a cook. I get Meals on Wheels, so whatever they got on those dishes, I eat them. It's really good.
That'll work.
My sugar was, they said, in the thousands. I almost died.
Wow.
And
holy cow.
Well, what happened was when my dad died in 2020 of COVID in December, I went to every fast food joint because I didn't know how to cook. So I would drink like sweet tea and sweet lemonade. I never did like sodas.
Yeah.
He bought at fast food joints and drinking that tea and lemonade, and I wasn't drinking no water. I was thinking, well, that's water soluble stuff. And I ended up in 2021 with 1,000 sugar and almost died that year.
Wow. Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to talk a minute. Did you or Steve go to Melder?
No, we did not this time.
Well, I was wondering if anybody went, because I know News Channel 5 kept running this stuff about Melder. And I know y'all been talking about corporal punishment, which I think we need to bring back. Like during my day, I know Big Al, he said he's going to be 60 pretty soon. I'm 64. I know you're a young man, Steve. You're way younger than we are. But we actually had guns in the gun racks because we went doe hunting, deer hunting, duck hunting. So we weren't hunting no humans. The coaches had guns in the gun racks and stuff. All that gun-free zone stuff, we didn't have that. And we didn't have them killing. But I know Liz Merle thinking putting up the 10 Commandments. If you don't put them in your heart and your head, just putting them up doesn't mean anything. And I wish they would teach the Bible as history so our kids would learn the founding fathers used the Bible. Big Nate had brought up the other day that the American Bible Society wanted to put a Bible in every school children's hand. I didn't even know that, and Congress had started that when the country started. And I can remember this. They used to call it the primer. Well, everybody had to read the Bible when they were, in school. So we've just gone so far away. And Big Steve, I wanted you to come over here, 3638 10th Street in Alexandria. I got a book for you. My dad had these books, and I want to give one to you because, like I said, I'm disabled. I can't get up there to the station. I can't get around.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can try and do that, for sure.
Yeah, 3638. I'm right over here by Peabody Magnet High School. Go down Jones Street. You come out to Willow Glen where the big water tower is. Got to go up in the driveway, and it's a white brick house with green shutters on it.
Okay.
But like I was saying, our kids are just lost now. And when I got a whooping at school, of course, both my parents were school teachers. So, you got a whooping at school. Well, you getting a whooping here at the house, too.
Yeah, that's true.
People really looked out for each other in the neighborhood. We had an old teacher here that used to live across the street, Ms. Hoover. She's gone now. She'd tell them boys, y'all need to pull up your britches. But we tell her, said, Ms. Hoover, it's a different day, a different time. These kids might be carrying guns or something. And the first thing you tell them, they're going to say, you don't have to tell me cussing, too. I ain't going to cuss on the air. But, and we would just always worry about her trying to tell them kids to pull their pants above their britches and everything. But, I'm just praying that we don't get hit by a terrorist attack. I think these Iranians and these communist Chinese that have these sleeper cells here, just be careful on the 4th of July, ladies and gentlemen. But God bless I really enjoy the show, and y'all bring up some old stuff. You know, there's a lot of old fogies still around here. We all ain't passed away yet. But,
oh, we're glad to have you listen.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Cornelius. Appreciate the call. Have a great 4th of July if we don't talk to you tomorrow. So, again, 442-8255 is our phone number on the BOM Bank Talk line. You have anything on the agenda for today you're covering?
I'm trying to do some stuff with the Rapides Parish School Board, follow up on the corporal punishment, possibly kind of look at how they're going to go about this polling of the principals. Also going to look at some construction at some schools, hopefully, kind of line some things up.
Yeah.
And preview Rock the Red. And then, of course, things kind of happen throughout the day. And if it happens, I'll try and be there. So lots of stuff to do.
I hope you get a little downtime during the 4th.
Well, I'll probably be at the events shooting them.
That's true.
That's what I'm hoping to
But
do.
you can take your family with you maybe, huh?
Yeah.
Does Sophie like fireworks, or she get scared?
I don't know. I've never taken her.
Oh.
Yeah. She'll probably be like a little nervous at first, but then kind of warm up to it eventually. I think that's what we hope for.
The dog might get scared, though.
He probably will. Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Ben. He's a standard poodle. He's a good dog.
I don't think I've met him yet.
I don't think so. He's a good dog.
You've always been a dog person.
I have?
Yeah.
I think this is the only dog I could ever have because he's fully trained. He's very docile. He listens. And poodles are very smart. And they don't shed either.
Really?
Yeah. Hypoallergenic. Not a single hair comes off of him. I haven't seen one.
Wow.
But it's looking forward to the 4th of July. Maybe take the family out there, bring the camera out, and if not, I'll bring my wife, get a babysitter. Sophia doesn't want to handle the late night fireworks.
Call mom and dad.
Call mom and dad to come hang out. So
I'm sure your dad would love it.
They're best friends now, Sophia and my dad. So
you're telling me that. Yeah. That's very cool. Okay, we'll take a break. More Talk Back coming up.
Talk Back is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talk Back is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. ADP reported that private payrolls fell last month for the first time in 2 years, down by 33,000 on a decline in service-providing positions. Economists were expecting an increase. The Labor Department's report is due out tomorrow. Employers have grown increasingly cautious about the impact from the Trump administration's trade policy, and companies are focused on bringing headcounts more in line with economic activity that has slowed this year. Would-be home buyers who need to finance their purchase are seeing some relief in mortgage rates. A bankers group says the contract rate on a 30-year mortgage slipped to 6.79%. That sparked a jump in refinancings, which rose to the highest level since April. But an index of applications to finance home purchases was little changed last week and consistent with the housing market that remains unaffordable for many. Futures were slipping this morning after stocks closed mixed yesterday, with the S&P and the NASDAQ pulling back from record highs. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
When you're going through something.
Hey folks, it's Tommy Walter inviting you to Blues and Cues, July 11th at the Riverfront Center in downtown Alexandria. Come enjoy Crystal Thomas, Sam Joyner, Amy Allen, and MC Tony Groove. Plus, free. That's free barbecue. Doors are open at 6:30. The show starts at 7. Tickets are free, but the number is limited, so grab yours today at thomasbwalter.com.
Let's give them the blues.
Hello, Louisiana Problem Gamblers Helpline. How can I help you?
I think I need help for my gambling. I'm losing everything that's important to me because of it.
Gambling help is available. If you or someone you know are struggling with gambling, there's free help and support for you. Call 877-770-STOP or chat online at helpforgambling.org. Take the first step toward recovery today.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands. 855 RoofMax will help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years. Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
855 RoofMax.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
855 RoofMax. We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. So call 855 RoofMax.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Well, good morning. We'll start out with some sunshine this morning with increasing clouds as the afternoon approaches. We'll see the possibility of a stray shower or thunderstorm as well. Only about a 10 to 15% chance of that. Afternoon highs near 96. Tonight, partly cloudy. We'll get down to 74. And then tomorrow again, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. About a 20% chance on Thursday of a shower or thunderstorm throughout the day. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson. Currently 91 degrees in Cenla.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we're back here on your Wednesday. Al Quartermont, Stephen Maxwell to the phones again. Good morning, you're on Talk Back.
Hey, I want to give you a good website you can read about experience in Illinois. It's YaleClimateConnection.org.
Okay. Yale Climate Connection.
Stephen saw that guy with the ponytail had a little outburst, and he talked, those LSU guys, they're talking about, they had this model of all the rock formations underneath and how well suited it is for carbon capture. Well, on this article I read, that guy with the ponytail was right. The only actual carbon sequestration site they have in the United States is in Illinois. Illinois was attractive because they had the Mount Simon sandstone, the deep saline formation of porous rock, especially suitable for CO2 storage. So they put a sequestration well down, started pumping carbon dioxide down in it. It was a great site for carbon sequestration, but guess what? It didn't take any time for it to start leaking. And Archer Daniels Midland, the agribusiness company, they're the one that had it. Well, they waited for months before they notified the EPA, and it was 5 months after the leak before they actually notified the public. So those LSU guys, they're receiving funding from Big Oil. You can bet on it.
Yeah.
And I got up there and spoke, but I'm not a good public speaker. I get nervous and my tongue gets twisted and everything. But I brought up to them something about you can't trust scientists because, like the Pennington Research Center at LSU, they did a study on sugar, and sugar didn't. Their scientists found out sugar didn't have anything to do with obesity. It was lack of exercise. But the study was paid for by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that does make it a little suspect, as they say, right?
Well, ever since I was a nurse, I went into, I was the biggest Pollyanna ever. I believed everything they said. Well, as the years went on, I found out that a lot of it was faulty information. Since COVID, I have really done a deep dive. You can't trust anybody, really. You can't trust the American Heart Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, that pushes all these vaccines. They get a tremendous amount of their funding from pharma. American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, give dietary information. They get the majority of their funding from big foods. You can bet those LSU guys, they're getting funding from
Did you have a chance to catch any of the RFK interview with Tucker Carlson the other night?
Yeah. No, well, I read about it.
Okay.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it live. But.
Quite interesting. He said that there was a study that the CDC buried about the risk of autism increased by over 1,000% for people that received which vaccine was it? It was I'll have to look it up, but everything that you were always told automatically, no, that's just conspiracy. He's finding that a lot of things are have been covered up. So quite interesting.
Pharma is so corrupt. I'm reading the book right now. I'm almost finished with it. I ordered a copy, and I'm going to bring you a copy, called Butchered by Healthcare. And I was a little bit skeptical of it, Well, I started reading the book, and he writes about things I experienced when I was still working in ICU. And like one drug he brought up was Xigris. Xigris was this miracle blockbuster drug. It was going to very much lower the rate of fatalities of patients with sepsis.
Okay.
Well, sepsis has a pretty high mortality rate. So they came out with this blockbuster drug. It was going to cut our mortality rate significantly. Well, I never really knew if it worked that good. I didn't take care of that many sepsis patients. I was pretty much always beside the heart surgery patients. But anyway, we had a doctor. He was he believed everything that came out. He was so excited about Xigris. Well, come to find out, Xigris was useless. They took it off the market after 11 years and had a bad side effect that causes bleeding. Well, turned out that Eli Lilly, who brought out Xigris, they had falsified a lot of data in their clinical trials when they proposed it to the FDA. But they just absolutely lied about the effectiveness of Xigris.
Wow.
But they made a ton of money off of it. When they first started, they were charging $8,000 a dose, and as time went on, it got up to $27,000 a dose. So they made billions off of Xigris.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just find a lot of corruption like everything else because money is involved. And I saw the other day where the DOJ has charged 324 people, including 96 doctors, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, and other licensed medical professionals in 50 federal districts and 12 state attorneys general's offices for alleged participation in various healthcare fraud schemes that totaled $14.6 billion. Holy cow. And you didn't really hear much about it in the mainstream news at all, which is, again, why I get so much of my news from Twitter, because just there are a lot of things in the mainstream that don't get covered, which is crazy.
Well, and he writes about how the American Heart Association, they push statins. And they use these statistical tricks to make statins look to be much more effective than they actually are. The American Heart and doctors, they quote relative risk reduction, which is it's not honest. You need to look at absolute risk reduction.
Yeah.
And you need to look at numbers needed to treat to really find out the effectiveness. Anyway, I ordered you a copy, and I'm gonna bring it to you.
Okay.
I think you'll find it very interesting. It's kind of disheartening too, though.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I always appreciate you. Thanks so much. All right, we need to take a break. More Talk Back coming up.
Talk Back is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talk Back is on the way.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Teens are using social media to buy what they think are prescription pills, like Oxy, Xanax, or Adderall. But these pills are actually made with a cheaper, stronger, and more deadly synthetic called fentanyl. You cannot see it, smell it, or taste it. Naloxone and fentanyl testing strips are available for free through many community service organizations to help prevent opioid overdose. Carry naloxone and know the signs of an overdose. If you or a loved one needs help, go to opioidhelpla.org. Brought to you by the Louisiana Department of Health.
Now back to Talk Back. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Thanks for waiting. You're on Talkback.
You know this guy, this communist Muslim guy that's running for mayor of New York City?
Yeah.
Madadi, I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm thinking about donating money to his campaign.
How come?
Because I think that he more than anybody else demonstrates what the Democratic Party is and who they're becoming.
Mm. Wow.
And remember Rush Limbaugh's Operation Chaos?
Yes.
Where he was Democrat. I think that's a good idea.
I mean, the fact or the notion that a guy like that could even be that close to becoming mayor of a city like New York is, to me, astonishing and frightening, both at the same time. But you're right, it is indicative of, but it's also indicative of a city, New York, that has so hugely been impacted by immigration. Just a lot of the people there aren't holding to traditional American values, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, they're raising all this fuss about the millionaires and billionaires not paying. Well, in New York City, a lot of those people just went to Palm Springs.
Right. Exactly. Or yeah.
So,
yeah.
And anything else? You know about the school paddling?
Yes.
I remember in the 5th grade they had a math teacher. His name I can't remember, but he was in the Marines. He was a former Marine, and he was talking about his days in the Marines and stuff. I thought he was trying to recruit us or something. Anyway, one day he got the idea that he was going to paddle me, and I still don't know I didn't know what he was even talking about, honestly. But they're still looking for his body. I went full part, but no him. He's not going to paddle me.
Wow.
So I'll have a great day.
Thanks.
I mean, I think you're going back to Mandami possibly becoming mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you saw a lot of people on the right fed up, and we saw MAGA was created. This is the version on the left.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a little bit more than others, but
maybe it's
that populist wing of the left.
Yeah, but we already know what he's pitching doesn't work.
To a certain extent. There's a lot of things that you could say do not work or work. You can't just blanket everything as communism and say it doesn't work.
So the government owning the grocery stores, you think that'll work?
That's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? Just like a lot of things Trump says don't really happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeesh.
No, I know. You're not. It's not like I'm sticking up for it. It's just you can't blanket everything as communism. It's just doesn't work. You can't label everything in MAGA as authoritarianism.
But he's admitted to.
He said he's not communist. I'm just saying what he said the other day.
He's a liar.
He would call himself a socialist Democrat.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I'm just saying what they say.
If you look at a lot of his past social media posts, he's a communist.
Yeah. I wouldn't socialize the grocery stores, so don't come at me.
All right, another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Well, when my wife was a kindergarten teacher in Baton Rouge in the 70s and 80s, you could paddle with permission. And she said at that time, kids would try you.
Yeah.
And if you gave them a little tap, that was all that was needed. If the kid was in a situation that was bringing something from home, you could beat them to death and it wouldn't help. So it was clear that the acting out had something to do with the situation at home.
Yeah.
If that was the case, no amount of paddling would do any good.
Yeah.
So anyway, so paddling basically can work if it's applied properly. How in the world do you decide what's proper?
Yeah. It puts a lot on the educators, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I've been listening kind of off and on, the meeting at Melder, the carbon capture meeting, they filled up the sanctuary, which is a huge one, and then they had an overflow room with,
right.
I guess, cameras. And, okay, I was there for the first two presentations. I don't know if anybody spoke for carbon capture. If they did, they would have been basically given due respect.
Mm-hmm.
But they probably would have not have convinced anybody that carbon capture, as it's proposed, is going to make any sense, other than somebody's going to make a lot of green money.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
It's just preposterous that these systems go through without proper testing.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had the situation up there in Illinois, so say that was supposed to be a bellwether type demonstration, and it didn't work. So they come down here and make it work. And now I don't know about the numbers that the first guy presented, but in essence, he basically said it was a drop in the bucket if everything was set up in Louisiana to suck up whatever was coming from wherever it was going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's doing anything about carbon capture in India or China.
Right.
So
that's just it. It's a lot of money, and it's some risk, I think you could say, for sure, for something that ultimately will it make any even little difference at all?
Yeah, well, they cited a couple studies where this climate issue is just basically cyclical.
Yeah.
And we're in a particular cycle.
Right.
Now, of course, what the modelers say is that, well, it's getting worse and worse. And the more we put out, the worse it's going to get. The one thing they don't do is they've divided the Earth into sections, small sections.
Mm-hmm.
And they have data for very few of those sections. So they estimate what the data would be for the other sections by a model, a computer model that says, well, this ought to be what it is.
Right.
But they don't know that that's what it is.
Right. And as we've seen with computer models, even when it comes to forecasting things like hurricanes, they're not 100%. They're not even really close. They can kind of get you in the ballpark, but look how many times we've seen computer models that say a hurricane's going to go here or there, and it doesn't go there at all. It goes somewhere else that wasn't as prepared. So, I don't know.
Well, my experience with state government, when they have basically public meetings to discuss things like carbon capture, they get up there, people give their testimony, and in essence, that checks one box, and 6 months later, the government does whatever it wants to do.
Right, true.
Regardless of what the presentations were.
Right.
So what good is it? What good are public meetings?
Well, we did have a caller yesterday. He said that in his mind that a lot of this is just kabuki theater. At the end of the day, the politicians are going to do what they're going to do anyway. Well, I don't know, though.
Yeah.
I feel like the public sentiments and pressure are growing.
Yeah, well, Jeff Landry is basically a gentle type person, and with luck, he'll be voted out of office next time.
One of our callers a few weeks ago called him Huey P. Landry.
That's pretty good.
I thought so, too. So,
okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I want to go back to Mondami. I was looking at these grocery store things. It would be inaccurate to say he's socializing the grocery stores. He's putting one city-owned property in each of the 5 boroughs in New York City, something that's already been done in Kansas, Wisconsin as well. Chicago and Atlanta are also working on that. So he's not socializing grocery stores. Walmart's not going to be the communist bananas of Republic of America in New York City.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your research on that.
Whether it works or not is another thing. It's just We pick up political talking points and just use it. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is if that guy gets elected, goodbye, New York.
We'll see. I'm sure New York will withstand itself.
I don't know. Okay, we'll take a break.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Islands even shine each morn. In central Louisiana they're born. Whispers and big news they share, bringing smiles to every farm. From the bayou to the piney woods, they spread joy, their voices loud. Laughter and friendship they bring, making every day feel right. Morning light, shining bright, with Al and Steven by our side. Central Louisiana, come unite, in stories and songs we thrive.
What in the world? No, I was completely thrown off there. What is that? That's cool.
I made that with an AI app.
Oh my god.
Isn't that hilarious?
Oh, we gotta get Dave to make like a promo with that song.
I made like 3 or 4 versions trying to see what it would do.
He had a snicker on his face the whole break. I was like, what is going on here? Oh my goodness, that's classic. Thank you, AI. Thank you for making us laugh before you take over the human race.
You know, there are people that have businesses that make things like jingles, and AI is going to replace it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That was my first attempt. It wasn't completely accurate. We weren't born here, first of all.
We could be.
Yeah.
In spirit.
Exactly.
Neither one of us were born in Louisiana.
Right. That's what
I was born in Oregon.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to clear up. I don't want anyone saying, because I'm sticking up for Mandami, for New York City. Don't come at me saying I'm saying they come from the same populist vein. Both sides say they're tired of the swamp in the corporate billionaires. Just the left is going to overly tax the billionaires. The right thinks that they just need more money.
They say they will, but they're usually in bed with them.
Yeah.
They just have their own billionaires.
That's right.
All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, I guess that guy in New York City is all right. He just wants that what is it, the religious war to go worldwide.
Yeah.
Infantata, yeah, he wants that to go worldwide. I guess that's okay.
That's the other part of it.
Did y'all figure out whether you can use eminent domain for economic development?
You cannot.
Are you familiar with the Kelo versus the City of New Haven, Connecticut case? It's a Supreme Court decided. Why don't you look up that and let me know later what you think about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate
all different facets to this carbon capture situation.
Yeah. The eminent domain, I think, has definitely caused a lot of concern. Now, there were some bills that passed the legislature this session that supposedly will mitigate that to some degree. But I still felt, even in a couple of them that we heard about, that there were some loopholes, potentially.
For eminent domain on carbon capture?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still have eminent domain for carbon capture.
If they deem
it's
it
a common
to be like
carrier.
Yeah, if they deem it like a common, like a utility.
The way Representative Guyman was talking about it before the session, though, there were almost no restrictions. You know,
right.
Complicated story. He says eminent domain is going to be the biggest issue in the upcoming sessions.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a big topic here on Talkback. All right, great show, everyone. Thank you so much for your amazing calls today. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at around 7:20. Don't forget to follow Steven on our Cenla Broadcasting Facebook page and other social media.
Try and keep up.
With the busiest man in Central Louisiana. Me, not so much.
You've slacked the past couple of years.
I'm a part-timer.
You changed since I saw you 4 years ago.
I'm more chill.
To Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting. FM